All right, here's a look at the hole one tee box. A little tight window here to start, but don't let it fool you. It's pretty clear. There's your tee shot. Look at your fairway. You've got trees on the right, which are a lot of trouble. If you scattered trees on the left, if you're gonna miss, try to miss a little left. There's your look at your hole one fairway. All right, here we are in the middle of the fairway on 150 out. Pretty clean look at the flag from here. Trees all around, but you can definitely keep it, if you keep it close to the green, you are safe. There's your look at your first approach on one. Here's a look at hole one green, about a 30-yarder back to front. This thing just moves left to right overall. Pretty smooth, pretty flat. There's your look at your hole one green.
Safer and move with confidence. With strength.
All right, here's a look at hole two, 616-yard par five. This thing's a mile long, very tight, trees right and left. Not a lot of room for mistakes here. All the way down, the pin will be up there somewhere on the left, right about there should be. But there's your look at your hole two fairway. All right, here's the first approach looking in, still 330 yards out, way out from this long par five. See the flag straight up behind that 150 marker. Here's your look at your first approach. All right, here's a look at the final approach coming in on this par five. 150 yards out from this marker, wide open green around it. You can go long too much into the trees, you can go left in the trees, but you do have a lot of room to play with if you're somewhat accurate. Get in that. There's your look at your final approach coming in. Okay, here's a look at the green on two, about a 35-yarder back to front. This thing kind of moves right to left, back to front overall. Everything kicks from the right side down left to that little opening right here. Here's your look at your hole two green. All right, here we are at a par three, about 175 yards from this tee box today. You got a bunker on the right side and a bunker on the left. You can miss short, you can miss a little bit long. It doesn't get a little trashy to the right side on that. Over here by the trees, you got a lot of junk over there, and then you got a lot of fall off on the back left side, but you got to go way left for that. There's your look at your shot on tee box three. All right, here's a look at the par three green, about a 39-yard green back to front, and this thing moves overall back to front. Here's a look at the right side bunker, here's your left side bunker, and there's your look at your par three green. Okay, here's a look at hole four, 415-yard par four. Your line out to your fairway is this area. There's your fairway. You've got these trees on the right side kind of hugging you. Left out this way, you see the cart path out that way. My ball's somewhere over there. Hopefully it's safe. But there's a look at your flag coming in. There's your shot on your hole four fairway. All right, here's a look at the approach coming in, about 130 yards out. You got your flag right here. You got a little swamp in the middle. Bunker on the far left this way, and tight tree line on the right side today. There's your look at your approach coming in. All right, here's a look at the green, about a 34-yard back to front on the sides here. Got a little bit of movement left to right and a little bit of movement back to front. Overall, pretty flat though. There's your look at your green on four. All right, here's a look at hole five fairway, 353-yard par four. Your line's going to be pretty much down the cart path left of it over those trees. You do have a bunker far left playing about 255. You can see your 150 marker straight ahead over this cart. There's your line straight, even just to the left of those trees right there. Be a good look in. There's your look at your fairway on five. All right, here's a look in, about 91 yards out from the green. Lots of room around this green to take a shot. You do have a bunker there on your left, right down this direction, and you got a big wave on that green on the right side, so go right at that flag if you can. Lots of room to miss around it. All right, here's a look at the hole five green, about a 35-yarder back to front. This thing's got a long on the left side. You can see your bunker here. This thing moves right to left. You can see that big high point there. Everything right to left on this green. All shoving it back down this direction toward the bunker. There's your look at your hole five green. All right, here's hole 6, another par 3. This one's playing about 200 downhill, so check your slope. You got junk on the right side. You can miss a little bit long on the right, but it runs down. Long on the back side runs down, and long on the left side. You've got bunker, which is probably the safest miss, or even just up short. But here's your look at your hole 6 tee box. All right, here's a look at that par 3 green, about a 47 yarder back to front. Lots of movement all over the place. Ultimately, you can see the high backside and it comes down front. Little spine running through the center. You can see on the top point of this bunker here on the left side, and it kind of picks back up on this right side. Lots of fall off on the right into the creek. Tough hole, not a lot of room to miss. There's your look at your par 3 green. All right, here's a look at the tee shot on hole 7, a 454 yarder. Wide open fairway. There's your 150 marker out that way. That bunker's playing about 220 to carry that. Bunker on the right side's way out there. Lots of room on this fairway to get it. There's a look at your tee shot on 7. All right, here's a look at your approach on 7 coming in. You see the flag right over that bunker. You do have another bunker there front left. You got a little room to miss around this green, but not too much. Go right at it. There's your approach on 7. All right, here's a look at our green on 7, about a 40 yarder back to front. This thing moves left to right overall. See your big bunker here on the right side. You got a little pot bunker here on the left with some stones. There's your look at your hole 7 green. All right, here's a look at hole 8, 433 yard par 4. Downhill tee shot, big open fairway area, dog leg left before those trees. You could take a pretty aggressive line over the edge of those trees to get you in a better position. You need to carry it about 250. And there's your look at your hole 8 fairway. And here's the approach on 8 coming in about 130 out from here. Not too much trouble around this green, just a little bit of slope off the sides, right, left, and center, and the back. Go right at it. All right, here's a look at the hole 8 green, about a 35 yarder back to front. This thing kind of goes left to right overall, and then back down toward the fairway. Right here where this rough patch is. Comes all back down this direction. Here's your look at your hole 8 green. All right, here we are at the hole 9 tee box, playing 477 today. Your line is going to be straight out this direction. If you can get the right side of that tree, you're in good shape. That bunker on the left side is playing about 300. You got little room on the right side. You got trees over there on that side, but your fairway, middle fairway is about this direction right here. There's your look at your hole 9 tee box. All right, here's the approach coming in on 9, about 210 yards out. You got a bunker right side, bunker front. Little junk on the left under these trees. There's your look at your approach coming in at 9. All right, here's hole 9, about a 35 yarder green. Little back to front movement overall, pretty flat, just your movement slants overall back to the front. And there is your right side bunker. Okay, black tee box here at hole 10, a 334 yard par 4. Tee shot through the junk. Tree on the right, trees on the left, junk in the middle. You got water on the right side, about 240, pretty far right. You can see the flag straight ahead. Carry this junk's about 180, 190. You can see straight ahead your flag this direction. Here's your look at your first shot on 10. All right, here we are just right at the fairway, about 100 yards in. Big bunker on the right side. Here's a good look at your first approach on 10. All right, here's a look at the green on 10, about a 40 yarder back to front. Lots of wavy movement. You got a high point here by the bunker. You got a high point here on the front left side and a high point on the back side. Here's your look at your hole 10 green. All right, here's a look at the hole 11, short par 4, a 305 yarder, tight window here. Straight away is the flag. Got about 180 to carry the junk. So here's a look at your hole 11 tee shot. All right, here's a look in, about 70 yards out, uphill green, no trouble around the green as far as bunkers go. Just trees, you can see your flag straight ahead. Right there, no wind. Here's a look at your approach on 11. All right, here we are, green 11, about a 30-yarder back to front, pretty flat overall. Like I said, no bunkers, just a kind of a flat overall green. Couple of hills here and there, nothing too scary. All right, here's a look at hole 12, par 3, playing about 170 yards today. Straight down the hill, right here in this area. You do have a bunker on the right side off the green. But other than that, not too much trouble around that green. Here's your look at your shot on the par 3 12. All right, here's a look at the par 3 green. About a 32-yarder back to front, looks like a jelly bean. Mostly left to right and then back to front movement. It's pretty subtle overall. All right, here we are, par 3, another par 3 back to back. This is hole 13. Straight away green. You do have a bunker on the right side. Other than that, wide open, not too much trouble. Looks to be one of the easier holes on the course. All right, here's this par 3 green, a huge par 3 green, a 42-yarder back to front. This thing slopes downhill back to the fairway, and off the top right, it goes to the right down that way. Big bunker there on the right. You can see how big this green is. There's your look at your 13 green. All right, here we are at 14, a par 5, 525-yarder, tight window here to get out. Water there on your left side. All this ravine right here is water, and then you have water out to the right side, about 320 out. So if you can stay right of that, pretty much that is your look into these houses. That's your shot. All right, here's a look at the first approach, still about 250 yards out. You can see flag straight ahead that way. Still junk on the left side. Trees on the right over here, but pretty much wide open to get in your first approach. All right, here's the final approach, about 90 yards in. You can see you're pretty safe around that green. Go right at it. Just a little trouble on the fall off if you go too far left or long. There's a look at your final approach. Okay, here's a look at that par 5 green on 14, about a 32-yarder back to front. This thing's got an overall back to front slope, but a little bit of movement overall across the middle. There's your look at your par 5 green. All right, here we are at the tee box on hole 15, a 437-yard par 4. You can't see the flag from here. This is a number 2 handicap. That tower is your line, and you can see the 150 marker straight out. That's pretty much your tee shot. There is a big open area for your tee shot to go in. And after that, we take a turn to the right. Stay tuned. All right, here's a look at our approach coming in on this difficult par 4. 173 yards out to the middle of the green. Trees on the right side. You got swamp in the middle. A little bit of room on the left to miss, and probably miss a little bit long. There's your look at your approach coming in. All right, here's the green at 15. About a 35-yarder back to front. And this thing goes left to right, back to front overall. It wants to show everything back this way, right into that swamp. There's your look at your 15 green. All right, here's a look at 16. Par 4, 343 yards, straight out. You see the flag there on the right side. Lots of room in the middle. There's your 150 marker, easiest hole in the course. Here's your look at your 16 fairway. All right, here's a look at the approach, about an 80-yarder. You've got a bunker there on the left side, pretty much wide open around the green. If you go too long, you're in trouble. Too far right, you're in trouble. Lots of swamp area back there, but there's your look at your approach coming in. All right, here's a look at the green, about a 35-yarder back to front, and this thing moves overall left to right. A few bumps and hills here and there, but not too much break at all in this green. There's your bunker there on your left side. There's your look at your 16 green. All right, here we are, another par 3, about a 157-yarder. Bunker on the right side. Other than that, not too much trouble. You can miss pretty much anywhere on this thing. Play out of any jam you get into on the sides or the front or the back. There's your look at your 17 par 3 shot. All right, here's a look at that par 3 green. About a 37 yarder back to front. This thing is deceiving. It goes mostly left to right and back to front, just like the other greens. But this one has a little movement all over the place. High point there by the bunker. Just a little bit of undulation everywhere. All right, here's a look at 18, 506 yard par 4. You need 200 to carry the water right over this toward the nets over at Big Shots. You were lined straight ahead this direction toward the fairway. You can miss a little bit right in that direction. There's some junk in the middle in between the fairways. But again, 206 to carry that water from the black tees. Here's your 18 tee shot look. And again, trees on the left. Here's a look at our first approach. About 250 out, you can either go for it towards the green. You got those bunkers there on your left, or you can lay up. You got a ravine in the middle. It's about 150 out. But here's your look at your first approach coming in at 18. All right, final approach coming in here on this par 5, about 100 yards out right in front of this ravine. You can see your flag this way. It's on the right side of the green today. You got bunker there on the right side, bunkers on the left. There's your look at your final approach coming in. All right, here's a look at the green on 18, about a 34 yarder back to front. This thing's got a spine in the middle that breaks off left and one that breaks off down to the right. A little bit of movement overall, but here's your look at your 18 green.